Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, Jolene with Jovi Star Astrology. I hope you're all doing well. After this, or as we are working through this full moon in Aries that just happened earlier this morning, how are y'all feeling? I feel pretty good. Nothing, nothing critical to report as far as this full moon goes. Of course, I don't have any cardinal placements. I wish it did sometimes, right? But nothing exciting to report from me. But I've talked to people that have had things going on with this full moon, which means that it's a prelude to what's coming up for these eclipses very soon. I always, as you all know, I always check what's going on in the news to see if I can match it to the astrology. I love learning astrology, talking about astrology, helping people with astrology, and looking into the future. But as an astrologer, and I think any of you astrologers out there will agree, we also find time to play a little bit with astrology. And yeah, it's a hobby. Is it what comes first, the chicken or the egg? I don't know. But yay, if we can't have fun with things like astrology, with serious things, we got to learn how to laugh a little bit. I always have to remind myself of that. But anyway, so today I was looking through my news feed to see what was going on, and I noticed that there was an arrest made in the Tupac Shakur murder, which happened way back in 1996, which incidentally was it was one of the cycles of the Aries and Libra nodes where we are at now. I wanted to come and show you how astrology works. It's crazy how it works. But 1996, we did have the nodes in Libra and Aries like we do now. And the events that are unfolding right now are right on time. So back in July, on July the 20th, when they actually served this arrest warrant for Tupac Shakur's, relating to Tupac Shakur's murder, I actually was talking to my son on the phone, and he's very interested in all of these things. He grew up with rappers like Tupac Shakur, and he's an artist himself, and he writes music. And so he follows the story. And so on July the 20th, when they served this arrest warrant, I was curious, like I always am with the astrology, and I had to pull up Tupac Shakur's chart and also the day of his death and take a look at what was going on the day that not the day of his death, I should say. And I think I put that in the chart, but it's actually the day that he was shot, at the day and time that he was shot. And I was kind of like, obviously shocked a little bit at what I was seeing. And so I was talking to my son about it, and I was like, I feel like it was somebody that he knew. I'm going to show you the charts, right? And so I told him, I said, yeah, I really think that there's going to be an arrest by October. Well, what happened this morning? There was an arrest, and I saw that in the news, and I was like, dang, look at that. Astrology is pretty amazing. Of course, no doubt. And so I got a little curious. I talked to my son on the phone today. I was like, I told you something was going to happen in October. And of course, he had read the book and he knows all the history. And so I said to him, he was telling me about the guy that they arrested, and he knew the history. And he was like, yeah, this guy, it's kind of weird. They questioned him before. Not sure, why they're arresting him now. And so I asked him, I said, well, who do you think did it? I mean, I'm sure there are theories out there. I kind of felt like it was somebody he knew when I looked at the chart. But my son said, well, I think it was P. Diddy, right? Sean P. Diddy Combs. Well, so I got curious and I pulled up Sean P. Diddy Combs' chart. And there aren't accurate birth times for either. But for what I'm going to show you, it doesn't really matter, because it's pretty telling and pretty interesting. So looking at those charts today, I had a prediction on whether or not maybe the theory was correct. Could Sean P. Diddy Combs have had something to do with Tupac Shakur's murder? And if he did, when might this thing unfold? So I'm going to show you the charts because it's really kind of crazy. Yeah, you'll get to see, like, again, astrology in action. Maybe take us a little away a little bit from the things that we're dealing with today and this reality, and experiments a little bit and play a little bit with astrology. So I am going to get these charts set up here, if I can. Hang on a second. I had it already. Okay. Hang on. Give me just a minute. I have to throw a chart on top of a chart, and that takes a minute. Okay, now I'm going to share it. I've got it all set now. Okay. So here we have the chart of Tupac Shakur, born on June the 16th, 1971 in the Bronx, New York. And we have him as an Aquarius rising, Sun in Gemini, Mercury in Gemini, which made him very lyrical and talented. And we know he was a rapper. And this is the chart on the outside. Let me get my little pen here. The chart on the outside is the actual time and day, a chart of the time and day that he was actually shot in Las Vegas on September 7th, 1996 at about 11:15 p.m. And of course, I pulled all these stats off of the internet. Let me grab my glasses so I can see a lot, but okay. So we have, where's my pen? All right, all set now. Okay, so we have Tupac Shakur on the inside. So these are his placements, and we have all the transiting planets on the day he was shot, and apparently the exact time that he was shot. So if we're looking at this, first of all, look what we see. We see the nodes in Aries and Libra. Yes, they're in the inverse from what they are now, but as you know, I've talked about the nodal transits before, their entry and exit points. And usually we'll find that there's a pattern for being affected by these, the nodal transits, of things coming in and out. So they're 9-year increments, right? So this is one of those incremental times where the nodes were in Aries and Libra, but they were in the inverse of what they are now. We have North Node Aries and South Node Libra, but nonetheless, look at where they were on September 7th, 1996 at 11:15 p.m. in Las Vegas, Nevada at 9 degrees. Well, we just had this eclipse that occurred this morning, and the nodes are in Aries and Libra, but that's not really the full story. There's a relation here. What is interesting is this eclipse in Aries was at 6 degrees, right? So we had the moon here and the sun here. So this eclipse landed conjunct where the nodes were and where Saturn was at the time that Tupac was murdered. Very telling. Now, it kind of told me, I was looking at this and I was like, well, this is a house of relationships. Looks like it was something fated. We had Uranus involved, Libra involved here, Mercury, and the sun. And it was like, well, obviously there was a relationship involved here, possibly a working relationship, Virgo, possibly somebody, the ruler of the fourth house, somebody that he knew, maybe even from childhood, but that he definitely had history with. that actually had something to do with this murder. Could have been the guy that they arrested today, could have had a long-standing history with him, but I kind of felt like there was more to this, right? A little bit more to this. There's a working relationship, Virgo, in my opinion. That's how I saw this. So there's a correlation here with the degrees of the most recent eclipse today that we had. And so I thought that was interesting. And I told my son when I looked at a few other things, I said, I really think, like I said, I really think they're going to make an arrest in this case. And I'm not going to pull up that chart from that day, from the 20th of July. Feel free if you, if you are into astrology to do that. But it really felt like they were going to make an arrest by October, and they did. They made an arrest today. Now, we go even further here. Going to move the charts around behind in the background. We go a little bit further and we take a look at my son's theory, which would be that Sean P. Diddy Combs may have had something to do with this. We can take a look at what's going on here for him today and how this eclipse may have affected him. All right. So this, we do not have an accurate birth time. It's not unusual when we're talking about celebrities. We don't always know, but I'm not really going to focus on those things per se. What I'm going to focus on is the patterns and the correlations. You call them synchronicities if you want. With Tupac Shakur date of death and what's going on with this full moon and how it's interacting with Sean P. Diddy Combs' chart. Very interesting. Well, first of all, the eclipse happened affecting right on his Uranus, right? It's 8th house, right? The house of death, transformation, things that are hidden. So the eclipse landed and is affecting his Chiron in Aries. That's a wounding, right? Something from the past, potentially. His Chiron sits at 3 degrees of Aries, and this full moon occurred at 6 degrees. His Uranus in Libra sits at 6 degrees exactly, and the sun, the other half of this full moon, is sitting right on his Uranus. Well, you know, since we really don't know what his rising sign is, it's hard to say, but we know that Uranus is the planet of surprises, shocks, sudden change. In the 8th house could definitely represent something definitely that he wasn't expecting potentially, but there could be history there. And it's bringing up an old wound of some sort, something that is related to his income, his self-esteem, right? Something at 2nd house, right? And because this isn't a accurate birth time, we don't know. It could be anywhere, right? He could be an Aries rising. I kind of feel like you might be an Aries rising, and then in that case, it could be affecting his identity. But going further, we have the nodes that are transiting 25 degrees of Aries and Libra. We have South Node over here on his Venus in the sign of Libra. And that is very interesting. We have that correlation. Also, it's traveling with Mars. Mars in the South Node. So something shows back up. Mars can be something regarding a relationship. Mars could have been some kind of aggressive action, something from the past. Very interesting, right? And we also had this Pluto here that's sitting right on his Mars. Sean P. Diddy Combs has a Mars in Capricorn at 29 degrees, an anaretic critical degree in astrology. And it shows that he was definitely a ringleader, a manager of some sort, not afraid to take aggressive action to gain power and control of a situation. So could he have been capable of being the mastermind behind something? Yeah, it's possible. It's definitely possible. Interestingly, back on July the 20th, when they served the arrest warrant on this person of interest that they actually arrested today, Pluto, which is now sitting at 27 degrees retrograde, was at 29 degrees. So it was exactly conjunct his Mars at the time the arrest warrant was served. Pluto's pretty powerful. It uncovers things, corruption, secrets, things like that. Very interesting, right? This is very, very interesting and telling. One thing for sure, he's definitely a part of this story. And chances are it's going to affect his life in a very, very significant way. Now, I think, and I'm going to stop this share, and I am going to actually animate this chart and show you what else I played with and see if we can come up with any other interesting little nuggets here in this story and how it might unfold. What are the possibilities? So here we have that same chart, but I actually animated it so I could move it. And I was thinking, so this is for, oh no. It's Tupac. Yeah, okay. So just want to make sure everything's placed correctly, but it doesn't seem to be. Hang on one sec. This software, I don't know if any of you guys have Solar Fire. This software does this sometimes. It's like you almost have to go back in and completely reset it because the charts will come up looking very, very odd. Hang on. So we have, or maybe I pulled it up wrong. Oh, it's possible. Okay. Okay. I think I got it. We're just playing around today, right? Okay. Okay. So if we look at where everything was, well, it's the same chart that we were looking at, but I want to show you what this looks like as we progress it to tell you what I think the possibilities are here. So as the outer wheel moves, that shows the progression of planets into the future. And so here we have Pluto. I want you to keep an eye on Pluto here, because you'll see that at the end of the year, right over here, Pluto's going to be conjunct his Mars again, like it was in July when they served the search warrant. I think that we're going to hear some more, if not before, I think we're going to hear some more definitive information on whether or not, if he was involved, we will hear about it at the end of the year. That's my prediction. I kind of think it's possible. At that time, too, we'll have the South Node sitting right on his Jupiter. Jupiter represents legal issues. It also represents truth. So I think we might hear some very telling information around that time. So we're going to watch this story and see what happens towards the end of the year. If he actually is implicated in this, in Tupac's murder, then I think, because Sean Combs has a north node. Where's his north node? I saw it just a minute ago. North Node in Pisces. There's the North Node in Pisces. Well, Pisces represents endings and sacrifice. Pisces represents the 12th house. It can also be places of isolation and imprisonment. If Sean Combs is implicated in this murder, my prediction is that, let's go years. We're going to pop it forward years. I think that there will be some very interesting things happen that have to do with his evolutionary path, his destiny in some way. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but like, you know, maybe there was some kind of past karma that had to be worked through between these two, between P. Diddy and Tupac. But right about, oops, I went too far. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Oh, it's February 10th, 2025. Yep, February 10th, 2025, we will have Sean P. Diddy Combs, rather, will have Saturn sitting right on his North Node. I think that we're going to see something. Now, interesting too, and if you guys watched the video from yesterday, Sun will be at 22 Aquarius, and we had an Aquarius rising in this full moon chart. And sometimes you'll see patterns and things that match when you're looking at past events and future events. And whether or not that's relevant in this particular case, there we see the 22s again, and this is Aquarius, that's an Aquarius degree. And so something surprising potentially happening around that time for Sean P. Diddy Combs. But Saturn represents restriction, right? Limitations, restrictions, lessons, authority figures. That's sitting on his North Node, which is his destiny. If he's implicated in this murder, my prediction is that he could be imprisoned then at this time, and he will be coming into his nodal return at that time. The node will be at 29 degrees. His is at 18. So maybe something plays out between the time that the North Node transiting then hits his node. But I think that there will be some kind of definitive stop there for him, and it could affect his freedom in this matter. So, you know, we don't know for sure, but I can say the way that he's being hit by this eclipse and probably by the eclipses that are coming up this next year, if it's not this issue that is causing him a little problems, he's having some kind of issue that I can tell you. Anyway, that's just a little fun thing. I wanted to show you that kind of gives you an idea of patterns and kind of how we look at astrology. Just a fun thing, just to show you, I play around with astrology a little bit, nothing too serious, but very, very interesting nonetheless. So I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you think that Sean Combs had something to do with Tupac Shakur's murder? I probably knew about it. That's what I'm thinking. It's a pretty darn good theory. Let me know down in the comments. Let me know how you're doing with this aftermath of this eclipse. Still energetically floating around all of us. So keep your eyes and ears open as we go into this eclipse here in a couple weeks. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for letting me throw that up and show you. Just wanted it to be really quick, not too in-depth, just a little bit of playtime, right? So yeah, I mean, what the Astro, right? Take care, you guys. See you next time.